right, we have one, two, three. We have 5 games of our week 14 that we wanted to touch on and recap. The first one, most important one, the reason that Ethan was crying for the first half of the show is the Minnesota-Detroit game. Detroit wins this one 34-23. Was a shocking one for me. I really thought that Minnesota was going to win this one. It was a trap line, having Detroit as a favorite against a 10-2 team at the time. So it was definitely a trap. I fell for it. Fortunately, they overhit. But Detroit, again, I believe the most recent graphic had them at 21% chance at making the playoffs right now. Again, I think we said on the last show, if they win out, there's still a possibility that they can get snubbed. But a couple big losses last weekend that really helped. The Seahawks going down was really good for the Lions. And then the Commanders and Giants, as we said, play this week. So one of those teams is going to lose. And if the Lions win, they're right up there with probably tied for that third playoff spot. So really big win for Detroit. We kind of talked about how fraud the Vikings are. They still are 10-3. They're still a really good team. They're still going to be in the playoffs. But yeah, I was impressed with Detroit. I'll just say that. I know Minnesota has a terrible defense, but Detroit proved grit. I really like the play calling. Campbell didn't look as exposed as he sometimes does. He looked very in control, and Detroit just looked sharp.
Yeah, this was about my only bright spot of the week with that Detroit win, or of the early slate last week. And quick, speaking of the chip and me crying, quick little update. I keep getting like this acid reflux coming up, which like just brings the heat right back. Otherwise, I'm like almost completely good at this point, but
Okay.
just every once in a while, you get this little acid reflux kick up and pain.
Your
But
stomach's probably in some turmoil right now.
yeah, I'm thinking my bathroom's not going to be going pretty good here in a couple hours, but I'll tweet that. Um, but yeah, Detroit looked awesome. I think, yeah, a couple of Dan Campbell play calls were pretty smooth there. That fake punt in their own territory was kind of game changing. And then obviously the Panay Sewell pass on third down to ice the game. So yeah, really happy with Detroit. I was on Detroit money line. It was, like I said, about the only bright spot of that early slate for me. Um, so yeah, we'll see. I mean, we're alive for the playoffs, but this just feels so Lions. I mean, just keeping us hook, line, and sinker, just
They're Yeah, they're
waiting for the
really good at that. They're really good at tagging us along to just rip our heart out the last moment. But
yep.
I'm keeping faith. Really big win, as you said. And Lions, I believe, are on a 5 out of their last or 6 out of their last 7 they've won, something like that.
5 of the
Um,
last 6, I believe.
yeah, so they are on probably the hottest streak in the NFL right now. At this, or besides the 49ers, who I think are on a 6-game win streak. But Lions, impressive, keeping us alive. It's the same old story in Detroit. I'm still holding a little bit of faith, but I'm not gonna let my heart get ripped out this year.
Yep.
One of the most surprising games to me was the Eagles and the Giants. Eagles just absolutely destroyed the Giants 48-22. This game was never close. Jalen Hurts, if you looked at his stats for this game, there was nothing great. He had like 230 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, but the run game was there. Sanders had 130 rushing yards and a touchdown, and a couple other running backs were just, they could do whatever they want. This really made me question if the Eagles are legit. Are they? I know we were a little skeptical of them earlier. They lost to the Commanders. We knew they weren't going to go undefeated. But now at 12-1, best record in the NFL, they've destroyed two playoff teams the last 2 weeks by multiple touchdowns, the Giants and the Titans. And now I'm starting to think that this could actually be a Super Bowl contending team. I know they're going to, they'll have that first round bye in the playoffs unless Minnesota or the Cowboys or Minnesota pull something crazy out. They'll get that first round bye. They still have Hurts. They still have a really good wide receiver core. Devontae Smith is coming off as an animal. Their run game is great. Their defense is phenomenal. Like this, they have all the characteristics of a Super Bowl winning team, in my opinion. And I'm starting to really think that it could be a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, I'll preface this. I was that close to pulling trigger on New York +7 last week. Thank God I didn't, because yeah, like you said, it was just ugly the entire time. They never had a chance to cover that. So yeah, I mean, Philly's good. I mean, and they don't take foot off the pedal when they're killing somebody. So yeah, I don't know. I think they're definitely a playoff contender, a little more so, or a Super Bowl contender, more so than I had maybe given them credit a couple weeks ago. Um, as everyone knows at this point, I'm pretty high San Fran and Dallas. I think Philly will get caught somewhere in the playoffs, but yeah, I mean, at this point, they don't have many weak spots on that team. It's a good roster through and through. Hurts is a stud. I think we talked last week that I have Hurts MVP at 30-1, so it's looking pretty good. I think he's
Yeah,
minus
those are great
175
odds.
now.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Philly, I don't think we're talking about the Philly game this week, but I actually think they could get caught here against Chicago. Um, but yeah, they're tough to go against right now.
For sure. And the Giants again, little, they're one of those teams. I think you said it before. Could also be a little frauds. And they're sitting right at that they're second in the playoff or wild card chase right now behind the Commanders. Seahawks are in the third spot, I believe. So as of right now, the Giants are a playoff team, and they do not look good. They look
No.
terrible. Their defense isn't good. Danny Dimes sucks. The only thing I said this last week, the only thing keeping that team alive is Saquon, and I just don't know how much longer he can do it. Because if you shut down him, you win the game. It's that easy. So a lot of game planning around Saquon and whatnot.
For sure. Yeah, the receivers there suck. I will say one thing about the Giants. So before the season, most sports books had their season win total at 7. I found a pretty juicy line. It was like minus 133 over 6.5, and I took that. And right now I'm very thankful I took the 6.5 and they got to 7. Because I don't know if they win another game this year. So
yeah, they start off super hot. That'd be a great feeling for that future. But yeah, I completely agree. I think they're in trouble. I don't know how good they really are, and I think they could get easily taken out of that wild card spot pretty quickly coming up.
yeah.
I will contradict myself later in the show on that statement, but for right now, Giants fake. Jacksonville, Tennessee. I don't even want to talk about this game. All I know is we're done fucking betting the Titans. That team sucks. Their defense is the worst I've ever seen. Ryan Tannehill's not the guy. Derrick Henry's decent. Their wide receivers suck. But we need to stop betting them. And I don't know why I picked them to win the Super Bowl, because that was just stupid. Because this team can't even. I don't even know if they beat a Georgia team. Like, this team is terrible. And hats off to Jacksonville. They win 36-22. Yeah. Do you have anything on this game? I didn't even want to look at the stats. I just saw the final and I was like, that's just hilarious.
It's funny because I filmed my other show, The Better in Green, last night, and same thing, just ranting from the three of us. Between all of us, we've all been on the Titans for the last couple of weeks, and they are just so fraudulent. Yeah, Jacksonville. I mean, Evan Ingram looked like Travis Kelce out there. Yeah, that defense is horrible. I had Tennessee as a money line with Kansas City as my most confident play last week. So I think that's my third or fourth week in a row riding on Tennessee, getting burned from it. That being said, I won't bet Tennessee again this year probably, but they probably cover and win outright this week. So yeah, I'm not betting it. I'm not getting burned for a fourth or fifth week in a row. I hope they get caught by Indy or Jacksonville and don't even make the playoffs at this point, because yeah, I'm just completely done with them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that is such a weak division there in the AFC South. They currently are 2 games ahead of Jacksonville, 3 games ahead of the Colts. But it's like the AFC South or the NFC South. They're just not good.
Yeah.
And from years of past, Titans have been a really good playoff team. They find ways to win. They've never been anything special. They just find ways to win. And this year, they don't even look good.
Yeah.
It looks like they're probably going to make the playoffs, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm done betting them. I've had enough. I've had too many losses to teams that they should have just spanked. So I'm done with them. And yeah, we'll move on. Tampa Bay, San Fran, 7 of 35. San Fran wins. First ever career start for Brock Purdy. Tom Brady looked old. Tampa Bay looked bad. Brock Purdy looked amazing. And I'm I love Tom Brady. I'm a Michigan fan. Tom Brady, a Michigan alumni. I think he's the greatest quarterback ever. But he's just old. Like there's no way he sticks around another year. There's no chance unless he gets traded to a team that I don't even know because Tampa Bay has all the pieces to be great and they just can't figure it out. So this was Tom Brady's third biggest defeat ever. The other one, his first and second and fourth biggest defeats, he all went out. He went on to win the Super Bowl that year. I'm gonna call it right now. He's not winning the Super Bowl this year. He might even get knocked out of the playoffs because the Panthers are one game behind them. Falcons are one game behind them. They are squeaking by, and I just want to root for them so bad, but I can't because they're just bad. I have Mike Evans on my fantasy team, who in my opinion is the top 5 wide receiver in the league, and he gets 2 targets a game and he catches both of them. Like throw the guy the ball 10 times and you'll win or you won't win, but you have a better offensive game plan than what you have right now.
Yep.
They just look bad. Tom, he can't hit the deep ball. We thought he was going to maybe get back on track. Can't hit the deep ball. He's always angry. Yeah, I'm done with my rant. Sorry, Tom. I love you. I think you're the best. But yeah, what do you got?
Yeah, I think I don't remember if I talked about it on the show last week, but I heard Colin Cowherd saying that Tom Brady's not done with football. He's just completely done with Tampa. Could not agree more. There's, I think, some serious issues going on within that organization. I think Bruce Arians retiring really left a gap there. I think him and Brady just kind of got each other more than maybe head coach is leaving me right now. Can't think of the name, but I think him and Arians were pretty tight there. Obviously, Evans and Brady are not on the same page, not getting along. Brady's yelling at everybody. So yeah, I really agree with that. I don't think his career's over. I think his career's done in Tampa though. That being said though, call me crazy. I kind of think Tampa's still a bet on team the rest of the year. And I've been saying that for a long time now. I tweeted it out. I think they might win out the rest of the
Yep.
season. Um, and I really believe that. But yeah, we'll get more into that a little bit later. But San Fran, they just looked really good. I mean, I thought they were going to put Purdy in a pretty good situation just because of all the talent around him. Purdy actually looked pretty damn good. He was
Yep.
making throws, making plays. They lost Debo, which made me a little nervous there for him. But yeah, I mean, he was hitting Ayuk. Kittle was having a day. McCaffrey, obviously. So yeah, I think San Fran just looked really good in the win. Tampa was just embarrassed on national TV. So I think both come back down to earth just a little bit this week, but we'll get into that.
Yeah. And, I do believe something's wrong in Tampa. I thought he's surrounded by studs. Their O line's bad. Their defense is still very good. Their wide receivers are, I think, one of the best combos in the league between Evans and Godwin.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty solid tight ends. Touchdown Lenny is a really solid running back. So they have talent. But what's interesting, what I just thought about is when he left the Patriots, he wanted to go to San Fran, back to his hometown. I don't see that happening just because they went all in on Trey Lance.
Mm-hmm.
But Trey Lance out, Jimmy G out. Now they have Brock Purdy. I know that this will never happen, but I do know that that's his destination. Is Tom Brady wants to go back to San Fran. That would be absolutely crazy because that's a complete team that would be, Tom would have success there. So I doubt that's going to happen, but I do know that's where he wanted to go when he left New England, and they settled for Jimmy G instead. But it is interesting, and I don't think it's going to happen. But it's his hometown, it's his destination. So that's something to keep looking forward to in this offseason to see where he goes, because that's the most complete team in my opinion. That's
Yeah.
really missing that quarterback spot. Everyone else I think is complete at quarterback or just isn't. Tom Brady's never going to go to Indianapolis, or Tom
Right.
Brady's never going to go to Detroit. So
Right.
he's only going to go to a team that he thinks he can win. And San Fran, think if they had Tom Brady, that would be pretty exciting.
I think Tampa would listen to a call for Brady for Garoppolo. I mean, obviously they're not wanting Garoppolo there long term. They've been shopping him all last offseason. That would help out Tampa extremely well. Then you get Trey Lance sitting under the best to ever do it for a year, and to heal up from this injury, which broken ankle, I think. So it's not like it takes a ton of time, but keep Purdy too, because he's obviously looking pretty good. So if I were Tampa, I'd definitely entertain that.
Yeah, and Jimmy G is what, 10 years younger than Brady.
Yeah.
So if with Brady, you maybe like at San Fran, you maybe got one good year, but that's really all they need. They're always in it. They're struggling at that quarterback position. And Jimmy G's done a great job. Tom Brady's just better.
Yeah.
So I could really see that. And for Tampa, you get Jimmy G, who probably has 5 more good years in the NFL, or Tom Brady, who maybe has another half season at Tampa. Like, so
Yeah.
I think that'll be a really solid trade. You can even throw in if Tampa wanted to throw in some other guys to convince them more. But yeah, I hope to see that happen because I know
Mhm.
Tom really wants to go back to California.
Yeah.
All right, we're on to week 15. We have again 5 games that we're previewing on. These are the Sunday games. Again, a lot of games mixed up this week because of the lack of college football. So we have Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, which is just phenomenal. But we have 5 Sunday games that we're previewing. Our first one, we got to start with Detroit as always. In a tough matchup with the Jets. Jets right now are currently a 1-point favorite. Over under is 44.5. Let me get to my pages of notes here. So I have a bet for this one that I haven't placed yet, but I really, really, really want to take the Lions, and I just can't. I can't do it. The Lions secondary is 280 passing yards allowed per game, and all the Jets do is pass. No matter who's at quarterback, they throw for 300 or 400 yards a game. They have 60 passing attempts. I really think this is a chance for Detroit to get even more exposed. I hope they win, but my money, I can't emotionally bet Detroit, and I just have to bet with my mind, which usually doesn't work. So I probably should just not listen to myself, but my mind's screaming to take the Jets. It's just too big of a differential between passing yards allowed and passing yards per game that I think could really be the determining factor in this game.
100% agree. I will be rooting hard for the Lions. This is the most invested I've been in this team since probably 2015. I actually had like a dream/nightmare. I think like Monday night, Sunday night, one of them. I woke up sweating because the Lions lost and they were not going to make the playoffs. I was like, wow, this brings me back to kind of my childhood. Like I haven't felt this way about the Lions in quite some time. Um, but yeah, I think they get caught this week, and I'm upset to say it. My money will definitely be on the Jets. It's actually one of my favorite bets of the week. Um, and this is a play kind of like a stock market. You want to buy high, sell low. Um, you're not going to sell any higher on Detroit than you are right now, and arguably you're not going to buy higher on the Jets than you are right now. They haven't been winning football games lately, but they still have one of the best defenses that
Yep.
Detroit's going to face this year. Um, it is on the road where Goff struggles. He only has 2 touchdown passes on the road this entire season, and 7 turnovers, 4 picks, 3 fumbles lost. I think there's only been 5 road games, if I'm not mistaken. So 4 picks in 5 road games, then only 3 in what would that be? 8 home games. So much worse on the road. New York is top 6 yards per game against, pass yards per game against, points against, and they're 13th in rush yards against. So top of the league in every major stat there. So yeah, I just think you're getting the better defense at home. Um, everyone's buying high in Detroit, buying Detroit right now. It's kind of a Cinderella story in a way. They're on Hard Knocks. They kind of got a fan base going from that. And now they actually have a chance to make the playoffs. I think there's no better time than right now to sell on them. So yeah, I love the Jets. Unfortunately, I think they win. And I like the under quite a bit in this game as well. Mentioned the defense for the Jets, mentioned Goff struggles on the road. New York is actually 1 out of 6 to the over of 44 points. I don't know the exact over under if they've hit in their other games, but the over of 44 points has only hit 1 time in their home games this year. And then Detroit has averaged 5.8 yards per play in the last 3 games, but those have all been at home. So I think, yeah, they're just not nearly as good or on the road than they are at home. They're second in yards per play at home this year. They're 17th on the road. So I don't see Detroit putting up a ton of points. I see the Jets clamping down. I think this could be like a 20-17 Jets win.
Okay. Yeah. And as much as I hate that, I just think it's just from looking at it on a betting side, not emotionally. the Jets are just a team to pick in this one. And I hope I'm wrong, and I hope the Lions win it. But I think the really smart play here is to take New York. Moving on, we have a ugly game between the Patriots and the Raiders. Patriots are currently a 1-point favorite. Over under is set at 44.5. I'm not going to bet the spread on this game, but this is screaming an under game to me. Vegas isn't good. We thought they were good after winning 2 in a row, but then they just lost to Baker Mayfield and the Rams. They still can't really pass the ball. And New England, again, they're not a really great offensive team. They have success sometimes, but they experienced a lot of injuries last week. Ramondre Stevenson's dealing with, I think, an ankle or maybe a wrist. I don't know what it is. Jacoby Myers is out. I believe he's in concussion protocol or something with the shoulder, one of the two. And they just have too much injuries offensively, and New England just has a really good D. They're still the number 1 D in fantasy, according to ESPN. And the Raiders, solid D. Max Crosby is a beast. He could probably get a couple sacks. Matt Judon for the Patriots is probably going to get a couple sacks. This could very well be a sack game, but more importantly, this is a field goal game. So I usually have 1 or 2 field goal prop games. I am circling this Patriots-Raiders game as my field goal game, but I also could see this as being a heavy sack game between Judon and Max Crosby. So overlying factor is this game's going under, and that's all I got. I don't want to bet the spread with a 1-point game with teams this inconsistent. Patriots look really good sometimes, and same thing with the Raiders look really good, but usually for both teams, they end up losing. They end up struggling offensively. So I think this is an under game, and 44.5 for 2 very poor offenses, I think, is a steal.
Yeah, throw in Josh Uche. Is that his name?
Oh, Michigan boy, yeah.
Yeah, we got a trio of Michigan boys right there. Judon, Uche, and Max Crosby. So yeah, trio of Michigan guys getting sacks this week. That would be actually fun to watch for 2 guys like us. But yeah, tough game, I think, overall. Don't really know what to make of it. I would lean the under as well. I think if I had to go side, I would just lean Vegas. I think they're getting Darren Waller and Hunter Renfrow back this week.
Okay.
So that should help out their offense a little bit. But yeah, I hate going against Belichick, especially in a situation like this. The Patriots need to keep winning to make the playoffs. New England is staying out west after their game against Arizona. But Vegas has the rest advantage, so it's just kind of tough. I won't be getting on a side in this game, but yeah, definitely I think under and look for the Michigan trio to make some plays.
Yeah, that would be. I forgot that they're all from the state of Michigan. Uchi or whatever his name is from the university. Matt Judon, Grand Valley. Ethan's alma mater, and then Max Crosby was Eastern Michigan. So 3 Michigan boys. That would be very exciting. To watch, and I'm definitely going to take some sack props. I don't know if I'll take individual, but I know on DraftKings you can take team sacks that are really good parlay adders. So you could add those to that field goal prop, as I mentioned, and get yourself a nice, tasty same game parlay.
Yeah.
We have one game with, I think, 2 very different teams right now. We have Cincinnati versus Tampa Bay at Tampa, which doesn't really mean anything. It's in Florida. It's always sunny. But the Bengals are only a 3.5-point favorite. They've won their last 5. Tampa Bay is kind of in shambles. Tom just had his 3rd biggest loss, as we said before, the previous week. So I think this is a trap game for sure. I think it's very obvious and easy to take the Bengals. I even like the Bengals, and despite the trap, I am leaning Cincinnati. But I am aware that they believe the Bucs are going to bounce back at some point. They have to, right? It's the Bucs. It's Tom Brady. They're going to bounce back. So that tricky line is very worrisome to me. But as of right now, I don't have any money on actually. Yes, I have no money on this. But as of right now, I would lead the Bengals spread, but I think it's a trap. And upon further research, when we get closer to the game, I very well could be flipped towards Tampa Bay here.
Yeah, I actually like Tampa quite a bit in this game. Yeah, I just think it's 2 teams going in opposite directions, and I think they kind of both come back towards the mean. Since he's actually the most profitable team against the spread this year, Tampa's dead last against the spread. So I think there comes a time where that kind of comes back closer to the mean. I think it could be this week. Like I've said, like I tweeted, I think Tampa wins out the season. So I will be taking the 3.5. Um, but I think they could win outright since he does have a pretty tough schedule left. I think they probably think they can just go in, get a win against a team that only just put up 7 points on national TV, get out of there and focus on, I believe it's Buffalo next. Um, Also, Tampa, Tom Brady just completely embarrassed against the Niners. So I think they bounce back. I think this game's ugly. I think it's close. I actually think it's probably low scoring. Since he's 4-3 to the under on the road, Tampa's 5-2 to the under at home. So I look for Tampa to win outright by a point or two. I look for it to go under. And Cincy, as of before we start filming, getting 73% of the tickets right now. So I'd like to fade the public a little bit there.
Could this possibly be another teaser play for Tampa buying points on this one? Or is it outside of your
It's a
your
little bit
formula?
outside the number range. I also don't love taking teasers against powerful offenses, like Cincinnati, just because they could put up points in numbers. So yeah, I it probably gets there, but I probably won't be taking it.
Okay. All right. Our second to last preview on Sunday, we have our arch enemy, Tennessee Titans, playing one of my favorite teams, the Los Angeles Chargers. Currently, as of Thursday, the line is Chargers are a 3-point favorite. Over under is set at 47. I think we're both in consensus here. We're done touching Tennessee. That doesn't mean we have to bet the other side, but just probably, and at least in my own opinion, I'm not touching any more Tennessee spreads. But with that being said, I do like the Chargers in this game. I'll probably will be taking Chargers -3. I think that number could probably get up to -4 or -4.5. So this one's a snag earlier, in my opinion, as opposed to that Monday night game where I think it's worth waiting a little bit in that Green Bay one. This one, I think it's worthwhile to snag that 3 while you can. Again, Tennessee, terrible defense. Chargers, one of the best passing offenses in the NFL. Herbert's going to have a pretty big day, in my opinion. I think he's going to go over on touchdowns, over on passing yards. I'm also going to do Eckler over on rushing yards and over on receiving yards. So I'm just going to do the 2 playmakers against one of the worst defenses in the NFL to have a really big day. And I do think the Chargers are going to take this one at home, -3. I am a little worried because Tennessee has lost 2 really bad ones in a row. So I think they're all a little pissed off. And actually, I think they've lost 3 in a row, but 2 really bad losses in a row. So I could see them coming for a little revenge, and their position in that AFC South, it's kind of in jeopardy. It looks pretty okay right now. But still, I think the Chargers are going to pull this one out. I would snag that -3. I also like Chargers and money line parlayed. But I also do like the 2 heavy hitters with Herbert and Eckler player props as well in this one.
Yeah, I first of all, I just think Mike Williams is completely underrated. I think he's arguably a top 3 receiver in the NFL. That guy, when he's on the field for LA, they look completely different, just so much better. Keenan Allen looks better. Eckler looks better. Gerald Everett, Palmer, the entire cast around him. So I really love Mike Williams. When he's on the field, I'm going to be looking towards overs. I'm going to be looking towards LA. So I do lean both those ways, over and LA. Like you said, Tennessee has 3 straight losses. I've been on each and every one of them. And they do control their destiny to make the playoffs and win that division. They still have games at home against Houston and on the road against Jacksonville. If they win those 2, they lock it up. So part of me feels like they don't even feel that they need this game. They can just win against those 2 bottom feeders, what they have been bottom feeders in that division. And just control their destiny. They do have to travel out west as well, where LA has just been sitting waiting for them at home after a road game, after a big momentum win on Sunday Night Football against Miami. I think that gives them momentum going forward. And then, yeah, for the over, it's Tennessee has an atrocious pass defense, and LA has a terrible rush defense, which kind of plays into the hands of the strengths for each offense. So I do think it goes over. I would lean LA -3. I was going to mention, I love Austin Eckler. Maybe it's because I've had him on fantasy each of the last 2 years, but arguably my favorite player in the NFL, and I have no affiliation to the Chargers whatsoever, but absolutely love the guy. Need a big week out of him. All that being said, because it's the Titans and they just hate us, Tennessee probably wins outright this week.
I would not be surprised. It's pretty much our luck. If you haven't been following much, we're probably not the best bettors, but I think we're one of the most unlucky bettors. So that would be our luck for Tennessee to win that one. But I think it is a very good game for potential player props. As you said, Derrick Henry could go off against one of the worst rushing defenses. So that's a good player prop to keep in mind in regards to his rushing yards, possible rushing touchdowns. You could possibly add him multiple touchdowns. I think that would be a pretty good play. I have been burned the last couple of weeks with Derrick Henry not scoring a touchdown, so he definitely is due to score one of these in the next couple of weeks, and this is probably a good spot for him to do that. The last game, final game of our preview on Sunday, we have the Giants at the Commanders. This is a rematch from 2 weeks ago. Commanders are coming off a bye, so Commanders are actually going back-to-back Giants games, and Giants had a game in between there. So this is a really fresh game. I am looking forward to this game. I'll let you go first because I think this could be a potential challenge because I think we're on different sides here. But we'll discuss what game you want to challenge this week, but I think this could be one of them. What do you got on this preview?
Okay. So yeah, like you said, Washington has had 3 weeks to prep for the Giants. That's all they've been thinking about. However, I kind of think New York's almost been the same way. I almost wonder if they were focused on Washington last week, and if that's why Philly got them so bad. I wonder if they just kind of figured we don't match up well with Philly. We'll mainly focus on getting the win against Washington because that's going to be the key game to who makes the playoffs out of these two teams. This is the Giants' 4th straight divisional game. They're 0-2-1 in the previous 3, so I really think they do need a win here. And I think the bye week was actually a negative for Washington because they were rolling. I think they were 5-0-1 in the last 6. And they had momentum going with them. I think when you have win streaks like that, the last thing you want to do is take a week off and kind of reset. So I like the Giants in this one. I like them plus 4.5. I think they could win outright. I think they probably feel like they have unfinished business against Washington as well because they did miss that Graham Gano field goal attempt at the buzzer in overtime. Probably feel like they let that one get away. So yeah, I like New York quite a bit. I think it stays under 40.5 as well. Obviously, last game landed 2020, so right there on 40. And I think these quick turnaround games like this, I think is advantage to the defense and to the defensive game plan. I think coaches can kind of get in there, see what worked offensively for the other team and try to shut that down. So I think it stays under. I think New York plus 4.5 is way too many points. It's probably a field goal game either way once again. And Giants probably win outright.
Yeah, we're on the same exact page. I thought you were going to maybe snag Commanders in this one. This is a tricky line. It's 100% a trap, plus 4.5. I'm going to have an article up Friday about the trap plays in the NFL because I think this week's a little crazy in regards to very weird lines from Vegas. But this is probably the biggest of the weekend, so make sure to read that article. But 4.5 points for the Giants. I understand they're at Washington, but that's just too much. It's going to be a close game. It was 2020 OT last time they played, which was 2 weeks ago. I think Giants, as you said, they are desperate for a divisional win. Washington is, they have had 3 weeks of prep, so I understand that, but it's also, it's again ruining their momentum because I think they were 6-1-1 their last 7, so they're right up there with, the hottest team in the league, and just a bye could either be extremely detrimental or it could help. But I think in this instance, it's going to hurt them more than it's going to help them. So I do like the Giants plus 4.5. I also wouldn't mind taking Giants money line in this one.
Yeah.
Commanders have to come back down a little bit, and Giants have to, again, we did say earlier, or we were ripping on them earlier, saying that they probably won't get another win. But this could be one of those games. If not this game, they're probably done. But I do like the Giants spot in this position, and I think the Giants plus 4.5 is a pretty safe play. It's 100% a trap, so there's definitely a reason why Vegas has that, where I think it should be that 3-point spread. So there's a reason that it's at that 4.5. So just make sure you're aware of that because there's a reason Vegas does what they do,
Right.
and there's something behind that one. So,
Right.
yeah. Well, I was thinking you were going to be high on the Commanders on that one, but you proved me wrong.
Yeah,
So we'll have to figure. Go ahead. Sorry.
I just can't find myself getting on the Commanders a single time this year for whatever reason. I don't know. Not a believer in Heineke, I guess. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, they're a tough team because they really don't have much. Heineke is probably one of the worst quarterbacks in the league in
Hmm.
regards to ability. Um, their wide receivers have potential. They just don't really find them ways to get the ball. And then Brian Robinson, the running back's pretty decent. Antonio Gibson's not bad, but yeah, it's hard to get behind this team that they're just not very good. They just don't have the athletes like other teams do, and
No.
they find ways to stay competitive. So we'll have to figure out a challenge. A good thing we could maybe figure that out in our upcoming bets. We do have a quick little future updates. I forgot that I had this bookie earlier. So I just logged in. I think like a week ago, I saw I had some pending bets. Well, the reason was he Venmo requested me. I was like, "Who the hell is this guy?" Realized I had a bookie, and one of my futures lost. Michigan State over team wins, by the way.
Ooh,
So I realized that loss, and I was
that's
like, "Oh, I
bad.
have these other pending ones." So I'll just give you a quick update on my pending ones. I did cash the Broncos under 10 wins. Easiest bet of my life. They're 3-10. It's impossible for them to get 10 wins. I think the maximum they can get is 7, and there's no chance they're going to get that. So that was a good win. I'm currently have 2 opens. I have Jacksonville under 6.5 wins. That one might come down to the stretch. They're sitting right now at 5-8 with 4 remaining games. Or is there 5 games remaining? 4 remaining
4.
games. 4 remaining games. I need them to lose 3 of those. So that's going to be tough, but it definitely has potential because it's Jacksonville. I would have loved it if they lost to Tennessee. So that one's very up in the air. And then I have Bills over 12 wins. This is most likely going to push, in my opinion. They're sitting at 10-3 right now. They're easily going to get 2 more wins, but I just don't know if they're going to be able to get that third one. So that's my pending. But it was nice to have that Broncos cash, which paid for my Michigan State loss.
You having to bring up Michigan State under just burns worse than that chip did. I'm past that. Don't want to hear about it anymore.
Yep.
Not
Pat, sorry,
bowling.
sorry to bring it up.
Hey, that's all right. I get you lost money because of it. I didn't, so I
Yeah,
guess burns you as much as me. But um, yeah, I like those. I think Buffalo could get there. I think they could get to 13, but like you said, probably 12 minimum. Um, yeah, I don't have them written down, but I do have a few futures off the top of my head that I'm pretty happy about. Like I said, Jalen Hurts MVP. I have it confirmed. It's 30-1. I took that back in June, which I don't even know what I was thinking back then, but I'm happy I was. And then I doubled down at 10-1 mid-season this year. So looking decent there. Obviously, 4 weeks left. Anything can happen. Um, I'm getting a little nervous about my Micah Parsons. I have him at plus 600 to win Defensive Player of the Year. He was minus 1200 2 weeks ago. He's now minus like 250. So still a heavy favorite, but Nick Bosa's looking pretty good.
yeah,
So I need Parsons to have a day or two in these next 4 weeks. Um, what else do I have? I have Dallas over 11 and a half wins. So they need 2 more. I took that a couple weeks ago. I'm nervous this week. I do think Jacksonville could actually get the best of them, but that would hurt both of us. Um, yeah, have that going. I need Tampa still to win their division. I really think that happens. Couple that I'm going to lose for sure is I have Cincy under 10 wins and San Fran under 10 wins. Um, Cincy just, they just keep winning. They're proving me wrong. San Fran, I'm going to blame on the fact that um, I made that bet thinking Trey Lance was going to play all year, and I think that would have gotten there pretty easily had he been playing. So whatever. That's can't win them all.
yep.
And then the only thing I would promote for the futures is I touched on it last week, but I still think Cincinnati is a good play to win that AFC North. They're still plus 110, plus 115. Um, so yeah, I think you could probably still make some money there. And then I was just thinking when we were talking about the Giants game, you could I didn't check the line. I assume it's still plus money for them to miss the playoffs, but you could almost take Giants money line this week and then put the same, 2 units on that and then 2 units on Giants to miss the playoffs if they're both both plus money. Uh, Good chance you could win both of those still, or at least push. Because
Yeah.
if they lose, they're probably not making the playoffs anyway. So, yeah, that's about all I have for futures.
All right. Yeah, we're still hanging in there. I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts to win it. It's gonna come down to, I think, between him and Patty Mahomes.
Yeah,
I think Tua kind of fell off last week a little bit. But one big week from Tua, he could be right back in it. And I think Josh Allen, unfortunately, is out of it. He was my favorite. I love Josh. I was thinking he was going to win it this year, but a couple poor performances on him has kind of drastically reduced his odds. But yeah, I do like that Jalen Hurts 30-1. That was could be the best play of the year, in my opinion, if that smacks. All
yeah.
right, we will get into our favorite bets. We'll recap again real quick. We had another tough week. We both unfortunately went 2-3, so under 500. Under 500. My overall record is now sitting with 9 wins, 11 losses. Ethan, you are sitting at 6 wins, 14 losses. So again, we're both quite a bit under 500. Pretty much unacceptable in my opinion. I need to be better, and maybe stop betting Tennessee will really help both of us. But just to recap, my over of the week, or my most confident of the weekend, that Chargers Dolphins game loss. You also had that as your over, so that was a big loss. Both my over and unders have hit between Baltimore and Pittsburgh under and Tampa Bay and San Francisco over. I was really happy with those. Your under in Kansas City, unfortunately, did not hit. That looked really good, and then just explosion of offense happened. The money line between Kansas City and Tennessee is your most confident, lost because of Tennessee. And then you did really well at the end here. Your underdog and your favorite both won, with Baltimore winning and Detroit winning. And then my underdog and favorites lost between Tennessee and the Vikings. So a lot of improvement needs to happen. But yeah, we'll get into this week's top 5 picks. Again, we do a most confident, and over under, an underdog, and a favorite or a team that's expected to win. So I'll start with my most confident. We didn't talk about this game at all. It's Kansas City versus Houston. I'm taking Kansas City minus 14. The reason for this, Houston's chance to upset a team was last week. They had a really good shot at upsetting the Cowboys, in-state rival. They were close all game. They lost by a field goal. That was their spot. They were looking forward to that game the whole year. That was a team they were going to win, or team that they're going to knock off. And now they have to play the Chiefs again back to back. I think Kansas City just takes this one by 14 easily.
My stomach is in shambles right now.
Really?
Oh, dude, bad.
We can get through this real quick.
Yep. Yeah, I'll just mention the best bet to recap quick. Yeah, we both need to do better. We'll stop taking Tennessee. Hopefully that helps. But yeah, we'll get through this quick. I like that play. I agree with Houston. I think their chance to win was last week. Didn't do it. So bad spot for them. But I'm gonna take Seattle tonight plus 3.5 for my most confident.
All right. Risky play. Risky play.
Yep. Either start 1-0 or 0-1. Sit on it for a couple days.
I will go next with my over of the weekend. I am going back to that Miami Buffalo Saturday night game. I'm taking that over of 43.5. Just too much offensive firepower for that game to go under. Despite the weather, I think it's going to be fine. I think both teams are going to get up there close to 30 each.
Yeah, I almost took that one as well. I'm going to go Dallas Jacksonville over 48.5. Jacksonville just looks kind of like an offensive juggernaut lately. So does Dallas. So I think I like Jacksonville in that game actually, and I think they're going to have to score some points to get there. So over 48.5.
All right, I like that. Going to my under, I'm going to take the Colts and the Vikings on that early morning Saturday play. It's under 48. Again, I just think Indiana's defense is too good of a secondary, and I think the Vikings are not going to have a whole lot of success, and there's no chance the Colts put up more than 24 points. So I like the under in that at 48.
All righty. I like we didn't talk about this game, but Atlanta, New Orleans under 43.5. Can't even believe it's that high. We have Desmond Ritter making his first start for Atlanta. Divisional game, tough defense, tough environment in New Orleans, and New Orleans doesn't have much of an offense. So I can't believe it's at 43.5. I will gladly take that under.
Yeah. And there's a lot going on in Atlanta with the quarterback battle situation there. So something to keep your eye on. And it's always a smart play to take the under when the quarterback spot's very uncertain. My dog of the week, I'm going to go towards that NFC East rivalry between the Commanders and Giants. I'm going to take the Giants outright underdog plus 185.
All righty. Yeah, mine's pretty similar. Actually, if we were doing better in this show, I would give out a pretty big dog here. I would actually look towards the Bears. But I'm not super confident. So I'm gonna take a shot at Jacksonville plus 180. I think they can get it done. I think they can catch Dallas looking ahead.
I like it. I like it. And if Chicago wins, maybe I'll give it to you.
All right,
So
we'll see.
a win-win there.
We'll see.
My favorite of the week is going to be in that AFC North showdown between Cleveland and Baltimore. I'm going to take Cleveland Browns to win it as a favorite. Just think Watson with another week of practice, getting accustomed to the NFL again. I think Cleveland's just going to win that game against whoever the Ravens put up at quarterback.
Yeah, and to finish it off, I'm going to take a short favorite, but I like it quite a bit. I'm going to take the Jets and fade the Lions here. I think the Jets get it done. That's minus 115, I believe.
Yep, I do like that. I think that's a smart play. Not betting with our head, or not betting with our hearts, but with our head. I do like that play.
Yep.
I have taken all of mine for $10, and I have parlayed them all $5 to win 172 at plus 3,356 odds. So again, $10 is not a lot for each game, but it is only Thursday, and I'll probably triple up on all of those. Yep. But I'm pretty confident in mine. I think there's a couple risky plays in there, but I also think there's a lot that could hit. And again, I said the same thing last week. I went 40%, whatever it is. So yeah, a lot to look forward to. Again, we have Saturday football. We'll get all of our plays posted. We'll get this published for tonight's game. Ethan, I want to let you go, but do you have anything else to add as we finish off?
Yeah, I'm doing just a little bit better, so we can sit here for a minute because we do have to pick our challenge game as well. Stomach is just going in and out here. So
I saw you leaning back over there. I was like, I know what that face is. I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to get comfortable, but feel good about this week. Hope we can cash some plays. Hope we can finally go above 40%. Well, you might have 1 week. I have not done it yet. So what are we thinking for the challenge?
Yeah, so challenge wise, we will be posting the beginning of this episode with the chip. So we will need recommendations of what to challenge next week. But for game wise, I'm not quite sure what we're thinking. It seems like we're on a lot of the same page here. Maybe we'd lean into a game we haven't talked about. Yeah, it's tough here. I'm thinking we could possibly do. Gosh, we're just have similar minds here. We didn't really talk about Steelers Panthers. That could be a potential, but that's an ugly game. Didn't really talk about Eagles Bears. Sounds like you're all over the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
I could possibly do that. I could possibly be convinced to take Eagles -9.
Okay. I like the Bears quite a bit, so I'd be cool with that.
Okay.
If that's what you want to do.
I'm cool with Eagles -9. Even though that sounds scary. I do think Eagles are going to continue to win by double digits here.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So all right, I'm taking Philly at Chicago -9. You are taking the Bears +9, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then we will have a new challenge. If we don't come up with a challenge, I also have a chip in case I lose. So that could potentially be my challenge upon a loss. But if Ethan loses, we will have hopefully a fan recommendation of what to do that we can do on air and that's appropriate and that we agree to do. So we desperately need your suggestions. So make sure to you can either respond on YouTube, our TikTok, or our Twitter. And again, to throw out a couple of handles here, I am at Worst Bets, just as it's spelled. Ethan, you are at eBainbridge26 on Twitter.
Yep.
Our official Cover 2 is our Twitter handle for this podcast. We are also on TikTok at Cover 2 Podcast. And then as well, we have our YouTube channel. So all of our links are always posted on our social media, so be sure to follow us on all of those accounts. But yeah, I'm looking forward. Again, we have Saturday, first time ever Saturday football this year. So that'll be fun. And yeah, we have a lot of exciting games, and I'm excited to hopefully get above 40%. And this could be the week that we go 5-0. Hopefully for that parlay, that would be pretty nice. But
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty good, and hopefully your intestines and insides kind of come back to normal. Maybe just a really good bathing session will get you back on track.
Yeah. Like you said, looking forward to this weekend, looking forward to all these games. A lot of football this weekend. It's gonna be great. So even more than that, I am looking forward to going and laying on my couch, letting this digest a little bit, maybe a trip to the bathroom, but I'm nervous for what that's going to entail. So um and yeah, I don't have another chip, but I do have this full bottle of hot sauce from Hot Ones Last Dab. But I think I need a week off of the spice. So
Yeah, I think
be
your
nice to me.
insides would like that. But
Yeah.
hey, I respect you for doing the challenge. You're a man of your word. You took it like a champ, never went off the air. So I don't know if I could say the same. I might have to figure out pretty quickly here if the Eagles, but um yeah, I respect it, man. And as always, it's a pleasure to have you on here. And I'm looking forward to this week of upcoming bets.
Yeah, man. Thanks as always. Good luck to you. Let's have a profitable weekend.